This movie is just a quick demo of 3 free audio effect racks we're giving away, which have been put together with some of the awesome new devices in Live 10, like Echo, Drum Bus, and Pedal. We've got a gated reverb rack on some drums here, a bass layering and processing super rack, and a crazy, glitchy, robotic one on the end here, which is completely transforming a pretty plain sounding lead. Just to briefly explain a little more about the racks, the gated reverb one is really useful for adding lots of presence and depth to a track, but without losing too much of the punchiness, and is achieved using Echo's new ducking feature. The amount of verb is controlled with the first dial in the rack, and the decay or length of it below. And you can reduce the amount of ducking with the third dial. You can also change the verb to more of a phasing sound, which is emphasised further with the feedback dial below. And finally, you have control over a low cut filter on the verb or phaser at the end, as well as some additional control over the mids and distortion on the dry signal. The bass rack is a slightly more complex one that uses an additional rack within it to split the signal into 3 layers for low, mid and high frequencies, with Pedal providing distortion on the low and high chains. Echo's modulation section, meanwhile, is adding some movement to the mid-frequency band. You can control the levels of all 3 bands with the rack macros. And if the mids get a bit loud, you can apply some additional mid-cut to the lows and highs to make some more room, as well as shifting the mids up and down the spectrum to get the tone right. Then there are 2 stereo width controls, the first making use of Utility's new bass mono feature, so you can make sure the low end doesn't have any stereo information by setting the crossover as high as you like, and then adjusting the width of the entire signal alongside too, as well as adding an extra bass boost on the end there. And finally, the last rack is a pretty mental one, which uses Echo's modulation once again, but this time combined with a high feedback to generate some very robotic sounds. The pitch and then pitch range are set with dials 1 and 4. With a busy dial setting how often you hear sound. A tone dial further adjusts pitch and EQ. With decay changing the amplitude envelope. And then dials for setting distortion and reverb amounts. And fine tuning. All these racks can be downloaded with the live project by clicking on the link in the movie description, so you can save them to your user library and have some fun with them, and maybe they'll inspire you to make some creative racks of your own. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.